Okay, Rabbi Isai, let's go. Tzar Balei Chaim. Here we come. So this is going to be quite perplexing, very interesting, and very informative. So let's go for it. Let's do it. So Tzar Balei Chaim. Is it issur mid'oraisa? Is it issur d'Rabbanan? What's the deal? What's the makaris? Let's get started. So l'maisa, it's machlokes rishonim if it's issur d'oraisa d'Rabbanan. According to most rishonim, including the Rashba, the Rif, the Rosh, they all say that it's issur mid'oraisa. Some Rishonim, namely the most notable, the Uraim, holds that it's only issur mid'Rabbanan. Okay, but the most say that it's d'oraisa, and we're going to take on that it's d'oraisa. The Shulchan Aruch in Orchaim Shinhei Yotes says that it is d'oraisa, and the Ramah in Choshen Mishpat Reish Ayin Beis Tes also says that the accepted opinion, the minhag is, we treat it as a issur d'oraisa. So Tzar Balei Chaim will be treated as issur d'oraisa. Now, what's the makar of Tzar Balei Chaim? There's no pasuk in the Torah, don't do Tzar Balei Chaim. Where's the source for this issur d'oraisa? So I found like 9 or 10 different sources amongst the Rishonim. Most of the Rishonim, not only Rishonim, but most of the Rishonim. So the Rambam in Meir Nevuchim, he seems to imply that it's issur d'oraisa, even though when the Rambam in Mishnah Torah, there's actually a little controversy as to whether he holds d'oraisa d'Rabbanan. But the Rambam in Meir Nevuchim writes that it's d'oraisa. How does he know? From the fact that Hashem sent the Malach to question Bilam, why are you unnecessarily hitting your donkey, implies that hitting your donkey, there's something wrong with hitting your donkey. It's issur to hit your donkey for no reason, and therefore that's his makar, that it's issur mid'oraisa. Number 2, this is what Rashi and the Rashba, their makar. Rashi and the Rashba says, we learn it from the mitzvah of prika. There's a mitzvah if you have an animal loaded and the burden's too heavy, that you help the owner unload, take the stuff off the animal. The animal's in pain, you have to help the animal unload. What's the essence of that mitzvah? The essence of the mitzvah is to stop the pain of an animal, and you can have to make sure that animals don't have pain. Zok, the Rashba, and the Rashi and the Rashba, that is the makar for Tzar Balei Chaim. Number 3, the Ravid says the source is from the issur that you're not allowed to muzzle an animal when it works. Right? If the animal's working in the field, you can't put a muzzle on it. You have to let it eat from the field while it works. I don't know whether that's the physical pain of seeing the food and not eating it, or whether it's like the psychological pain that it sees the food. I'm not sure what exactly the pain is caused by. Maybe it's both. But Lamaisa, Zak the Ravid, that is the makar for the issur Tzar Balei Chaim. Zak the Chinuch, and the first thing that we're going to quote in the Chinuch, actually has a whole bunch of reasons. The first one, the Meiri, is, we'll call it the Meiri, because the Meiri is one reason, is that you're not allowed to have different animals plow together. You can't have, for example, the chamar and the shar plowing together. Now, what's wrong with having a chamar and shar plow together? So, some of the Rishonim explain various ways. It's really sensitivity to animals. Either the chamar is going to look at the shar and see, the shar is stronger, and it doesn't, make him feel bad. Or the chamar will look at the shar, and we're going to go, if they're both in the same plow, they're going the same pace. We're going to be going shar pace, when the chamar wants to go chamar pace. And that's going to cause a problem. Or the shar, the shar chews its cud. So the chamar is going to be thinking to himself, what does the shar keep on eating? He keeps on chewing, right? What is he eating the whole time? And it's going to cause psychological distress to the chamar, and therefore you can't have the chamar and the shar plow together. So this, by the way, would be a makar, not only a makar of Tzar Balei Chaim, but a makar of psychological Tzar Balei Chaim to animals. Okay, let's try number 5. There's another one of the makaris that the Chinuch brings, that when you do the mitzvah shluch haken, you have to go and send away the mother before taking the baby chicks, the baby little birds, or the eggs. Why do you have to send away the mother? The reason you have to send away the mother is because once again, psychological distress for the mother. It would be too distressing for her to see somebody grabbing her eggs or her babies. So you have to first send away the mother to prevent the psychological pain to the mother, and that is a mikar for Tzar Balei Chaim Zak the Chinuch. Another mikar that the Chinuch brings is what's pshat in the mitzvah of shechita? Why do we shech the animal from the throat? Why can't we stab it in the heart? Why are we shechting in the throat? So Zak the Chinuch, that's a way to cause the animal to die right away with the least amount of pain. And some people, I think, mistakenly say no pain. It seems to be that it's not no pain, but it's the least possible pain. And that's Tzar Balei Chaim. Because it's Tzar Balei Chaim, it's Mekar Tzar Balei Chaim. We want to limit the pain of the animals. So that is Mekar number 6. Mekar number 7 is we don't eat Aver Min HaChai. To go and rip a leg off an animal and eat it, that is very painful for an animal. You have to first kill the animal, only then could you take the aver from the animal. So that is makar for this concept of not causing pain to an animal. Next is the Chasam Sofer says, the Torah tells us that we should be rachamav al kol ma'asav. We should go follow Hashem, and we should be merciful on all the creations. And therefore, we should be merciful on the animals. Now, the interesting thing about this Makar that the Chasam Sofer brings is that is really a pasuk from Nach, Rachamav Kol Masav. It's not from Torah. It's not from the 5 books of the Torah. Nach from Komishish Chamshe Torah. So, since when do we have issur deraisa or mitzvahs deraisa learned out from Nach? We usually don't, unless you want to say that is showing you the midas of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and we have a mitzvah deraisa of halachta b'drach of to follow a Kadosh Baruch Hu's ways, and we see that a Kadosh Baruch Hu's ways is to have rachmim on everything, all his creations, including animals, and therefore it's a backdoor way to get back in the Torah. That's the shiur what the Chasam Sofer means. Another one that I saw, I don't remember who said it anymore, is there's a mitzvah you have to feed your animal before you eat. You have a pet animal, whatever it is, that needs to eat. You have to first feed the animal, then yourself. Why? It's going to be distressing for the animal if you're eating and it's not. And therefore, once again, it's a makar for Tzar Balei Chaim. Zak the Rabbeinu Peretz in the Rit, so that would be, I think we said already 9. The 10th one is going to be Rabbeinu Peretz in the Ritva. They say it's not an actual pure makar, but it's a different type of derais. It's a halacha Moshe Messinai. It's a halacha Moshe Messinai. It's mitzvah Tzar Balei Chaim, and that is the makar. Now, something is going to be very strange. What's going to be very strange is we have 10 potential makaris. None is mefurish, agreed, but 10 potential makaris as to Tzar Balei Chaim. However, none of the Minah mitzvahs, not the Rambam, not the Smag, not the Bahag, not the Chinuch, not the Ramban, all the Minah mitzvahs, none of them count Tzar Balei Chaim as one of the mitzvahs. Very strange. Why not? Why is that not on the list? So, it seems to be more of a categorical mitzvah. Meaning it's not one of the 613, you must do this, you must put on tzitzis, you must, wear tefillin. It's not a very specific mitzvah, it's a category. It's a general anhaga, and I guess since it's a general categorical anhaga, then it feel that you should give it prat and treat it as a mitzvah. Once again, a lot of the things that we discussed, prika and not to muzzle the animal, etc., are individual mitzvahs. But as a klal, there's no individual mitzvah. It's just a closed way of how we're meant to treat animals. So which I found to be rather interesting. Fine. And Lamaisa, we see that this is, the Rabbanim were always careful with this. Rabbeinu HaKadosh, he was punished because there was a sheep that was on the way to be shechted that tried to hide in Rabbeinu HaKadosh's frock. And Rabbeinu HaKadosh said to the sheep, well, what's your problem? This is what you were created for. You were created to be part of a Shabbos meal. And even though what Rabbeinu Kaddish said is be'etzim true and accurate, however, there's a lack of sensitivity to the animal, and therefore Rabbeinu Kaddish was punished for that. Now, is it ever allowed to cause an animal pain? Is there ever a heter, or is it always going to be a problem? So let's start investigating. As we said, by prika, unloading an animal, the animal's sitting there in pain. You have to take the packages off the animal. But, Zat Gemara, if you're a zaken, if you're a zaken that for you to unload animals, it's pasnish for you to load animals. And if it's pasnish for you to load animals, so therefore you do not have to load the animals. So zaken doesn't unload the animal. We have a Gemara in Avodah Zarah. We're talking about Tzar Balei Chaim. We have a Gemara in Avodah Zarah that says if an animal becomes hektish and you can't be makriv for whatever reason, so it's like a little bit of a catch-22. This animal, because on one hand you can't be makriv for whatever reason without getting into the sugya, but it's hektish, so you can't actually use it. So what do you do with it? You lock it up and you let it starve to death. And then whatever, you could use the leather of its body, etc. You could use the skins and whatever it is, once it's already dead. Now, you don't have to waste the money to feed it, because you can't use it. Now, we see in Bechayres that an animal that has a certain kedusha, right, but it won't be brought as a carbon, what do? You could go and give it a mum. Let the animal get a mum. What do you mean? Let the animal get a mum? What happened to the Tzar Balei Chaim? So we're starving animals, we're letting animals get mums, we're seeing the zaken she'el, he's allowing the animal, no prika, I'm not going to do prika, let it suffer. What happened to this Tzar Balei Chaim we were talking about a minute before? Furthermore, there's a Gemara in Avodah Zarah Yegimel, which says, I think we learned Avodah Zarah together, that the goyim used to use these white hens for Avodah Zarah. So, if you're going to go and sell hens to the goyim, correct? You go and you cut the finger off of the hen, and then you could sell it. Why? Because, what type of good guy is going to be makriv a hen, which is chaser, as Avodah Zarah, not just a little thing in the eye or something, or a lip. You cut off a finger, So a guy's not going to be makriv a chaser as Avodah Zarah, and that way you can make your $15 by selling the hen. Wait a second, Zak Taisvis. I never got my finger cut off, but I think it kind of hurts, right? You think the hen enjoys getting his finger cut off? It probably hurts. But Zak Taisvis, you're allowed to do it. Why? What's pshat? Because it's what's pshat? Pshat is that it's for human use. I'll really get into all these pshats in a second. Let's just leave it as kasha right now. I'm going to answer them all up together. So once again, our kasha is there. What happened to Tzar Balei Chaim? How could you cut the finger off the chicken? Aren't these all examples? So let's answer them one by one. So the Mukha Yosef and the Ryan explained by the case of Zaken Sheinu L'fi Kvoidoi. So not unloading the animal is considered a human need. And if it's a human need, you don't have to unload it. The Maram Shik explains that you could starve the cow because the Maisa, that serves our needs. It serves our needs better to starve the cow than it does to spend the money to feed it. Taisus explains by the finger that, listen, I could cut off the finger to sell it. I can't sell the hen to the goyim without cutting off the finger. So I could cut off the finger because it's a human need. Now, what is going on here? Once again, we just said in the beginning, 10 mekoyres for it being issur deraisa. Now, all of a sudden, for a shtickle kavod abrius, that I don't want to unload the animal, tamach a shtickle parnasa, to make $15 in selling a hen. And now it could be over issur deraisa to make $15? Is that how it goes? For shtickle kavod abrius, we're over the rabbanans. Now we're over the deraisa for kavod abrius? What's going on here? To save a couple of bucks of feeding the animal, I let it starve to death? What's going on? How do we understand these things overriding issur deraisa? It doesn't make sense. Must be pshat that when it's serving human needs, it's not bichlal Tzar Balei Chaim. Because if Tzar Balei Chaim is issur deraisa, these $15 doesn't override it issur deraisa. You have to not do a lav. You have to make money. You have to, it doesn't matter how much money. To give up money, be up to 60 nechasim. So how in the world are you gonna elamai? That's part of the makeup of the issur. There is no Tzar Balei Chaim when it's a human need. It's not overriding. There isn't. That's for those of us that like the lumdus. That l'chayra is pshat. Now, how far does this go? What is considered a human need? You know that kid? Remember when we were kids? You know that kid that was like picking legs off spiders and stuff and bugs and whatever, and you asked him, why did you do it? You sicko. And he happens to become a serial killer later, but whatever, that's a different thing. Yeah? So why does this sicko kid do it? He says, because it's fun. Now, I don't know why that's fun, but for that kid, that's fun, right? So is that a human need? It's a human need. As is a state in Torah, so you have to have fun. Not exactly, but whatever, it's a human need, yeah? So, is that good enough? Let's find out. Let's investigate. So, there's one of the earliest tshuvas that are discussed on this. There's a lot of different people discuss this. The Sri Deish, the Shvuas Yaakov, and the Binyan Siyan all discuss, are you allowed to do medical testing and medical experiments on animals? You're causing the animals a lot of pain. You take this nice little mouse along and you say, hey mouse, you want cancer? And this, what we're going to do next, is called chemo. Yeah, I don't think the mouse appreciates that. So is that Tzar Balei Chaim? You're causing tremendous pain to the mouse, right? Could you do that? So they all three say, avada, you could. You certainly could. Why? That is serving human needs. That's serving a tremendous human need. And if that's serving a human need, it's not bechal Tzar Balei Chaim. So that is our yisoid. Which got me thinking, I don't know if you guys like this, there was a little geschmack. There's a famous tshuva of the Noidim Yehuda discussing whether you're allowed to do an autopsy. Nivel ames, cut up a dead body. Nivel ames, can you do an autopsy to find out what was the source of disease that, maybe we can investigate the disease and later we'll be able to figure out the cure to the disease and we'll save more lives. Pekuach nefesh. So therefore, could we do the nivel ames now to save human life? Pekuach nefesh is deicha all leisasei shebetayra except, the big three, and nivel ames is not one of the big three. Zakt Noidim Yehuda, famously, you cannot do it. It's still usher to do the autopsy. Why? Because the Pekuach Nefesh isn't lefanenu. And if the Pekuach Nefesh isn't lefanenu, we can't push away, we can't do it issur now if Pekuach Nefesh isn't lefanenu. So let me ask you a kasha now back to our giving that mouse cancer and chemo. Are we allowed to do that? Because, what are you solving when you give this? It's surely to cure a disease later on. So does the Noidim Yehuda of needing the Pekuach Nefesh now to override Nivel Ames, should that apply to now being able to allow to do Tzar Balei Chaim? Shouldn't we say the same svar? I can't do Tzar Balei Chaim now for a future need. The answer is that l'chayra it is a chiluk. Why? Because based on the yisoid that we've been saying till now, that it's b'chal not Tzar Balei Chaim if it's serving a human need. Memela, there's no Tzar Balei Chaim and the shayla doesn't start. If it was Tzar Balei Chaim with the heter, you could say the heter is not lefanenu. But if it's not b'chlal Tzar Balei Chaim in the first place, memela, it's allowed. Okay, so that's a little bit of the lumdus section of the shir, but I thought it was very geschmack. Okay. You guys masking with my yisoid? Okay.
You translate therefore Tzar Balei Chaim as unnecessary pain to animals?
Exactly. Tzar Balei Chaim is unnecessary pain to animals. Necessary pain is not Tzar Balei Chaim with a heter. It's not even Tzar Balei Chaim. Okay.
So you're saying that because you're saying it's not totally in the animal, which was what it sounds like. It's not like Tzar Balei Chaim is Tzar Balei Chaim.
Mm-hmm. Once again, that's just what we're naming it. There seems to be some Anhagas Torah out there. Torah never even names it Tzar Balei Chaim. That's like what we call it to give it a name. You know what I mean? Okay. The Chumas Hadeshin was, so let's try to figure out how far it goes. The Chumas Hadeshin was asked, can you pluck a feather out of a chicken to use as I don't have a pen. You pluck a feather out of a chicken and use it as your komus. They normally did it from dead chickens. But listen, you got to do what you got to do when you need a pen. Can I sign there? Sure. Are you allowed to do it? Zayt Chumas Hadeshin? It's Tzarech Adam. Yeah, you could. That's what the Chumas Hadeshin says. Furthermore, he says you could cut the tongue of a parrot so it speaks better. I don't know, I'm not familiar with this mitzias, but apparently cutting the tongue of the parrot, clipping it? Okay. Our parrotologist over here says that you clip the bottom of the tongue, so apparently, and that helps it speak. Okay, good. He also says that you could cut the ears or the tail of the dog in order to make it look nicer. Why? It's human need. I want a cute dog. And that tail, it's too, whatever, I don't know. Ears are too big, and makes it look all beautiful, whatever. You could do that. Okay. Now, the Pri Megadim doesn't go quite so far, because the Pri Megadim said you can only clip the wings of a bird if it's a Tzar Gadol. Meaning, if you're going to lose one or two birds by not clipping them, then you can't clip them. If you're going to lose tons of birds and it's Tzar Gadol, you could. So it seems that he wasn't nearly as quick to allow pain to animals for human needs. Okay, the Noidim Yehuda, this is another famous Noidim Yehuda Tshuva. He was asked about some guy, he was a Yerush, it sounded like, a big estate with pardesim and forests, and he asked, is he allowed to go hunting? Could he go hunting? Is it an issur of Tzar Balei Chaim to go hunting? For sport, correct. Could he go hunting for sport? Because once again, you're going to make the food into nevela, so you're not going to be able to eat it. So could you go hunting for sport? So the Noidim Yehuda says, listen, you're doing this for your own entertainment. It's not Tzar Balei Chaim. It's serving a human need, and it's not Tzar Balei Chaim, so I can't tell you it's Tzar Balei Chaim. But I have two problems with it. One problem is, who in the Torah were the hunters? Esav and Nimrod. Our Avos were shepherds. Das ist nicht die Yiddische Sach. This is the first Rebbe saying, Das ist nicht die Yiddische Sach. I can't tell you it's also from that standpoint. That's not what we do as Yidden. That's a midah of achzorius. I'm not telling you that it's also from that standpoint, but it's a midah of achzorius. And the second problem that I have is Mishmartem Elodos Nafshesechem. I don't know the current Metzias, but he was saying it's dangerous to go hunting. And if it's dangerous to go hunting, then you can't go hunting. However, if it's for Parnusi, then you'd be allowed to. So that's what he says. Okay.
It's also maybe
Yeah, but once again, I don't think he was necessarily throwing out the animals. Maybe he'd be, using the skins and, dog food, stuff. I don't know. Fine. The Maisa.
The kid in the playground, he's vindicated now?
We'll get back to the kid in the playground pulling off the legs, if that's okay. Because you could hear a comparison. Fine. And what's the pain, by the way, that we're talking about? So it seems like, I guess it's the pain that this animal suffers before dying. Because if the animal would have an instant death, that wouldn't be Tzar Balei Chaim. Because no Tzar, an instant death. Okay. The Maisa, how does the Ramah paskin? So Ramah follows the Chumas Hadeshin that one is allowed to cause animal pain for even a basic need. It doesn't need to be an extreme need. However, the minhag is to be machmir, not to directly, not to go out of our way to cause animals pain, because that brings us to achzarius. If we go and cause animals pain right and left, that'll bring us to achzarius. So pulling that feather, like the example of Chumas Hadeshin, Ramah says it's be'etzem mutter. However, the minhag is to not do such things because it will bring us to achzarius. Fine. let's get more clarity with more examples. Let Moshe says you can kill bugs, flies, rodents, mice, rats, whatever it is, that are annoying or scaring people. That is a human need. So you could kill them. However, if possible, it's better not to do it biyadayim. Because doing it biyadayim, doing it actively biyadayim, that creates the midah of achzarius. That makes you cruel. And you don't want to become cruel. And actually the what you call it, the Zayar said, Zayar or Rizal? No, it's the Rizal, sorry. The Rizal says that you shouldn't kill bugs. Who knows what type of gilgulim are in the bugs? Those of us that understand, well, yeah.
Any bug?
It has to be. I'll explain to you after the shit. Are you 40 yet?
Certain bugs. Right.
You're not 40 yet. Okay, I'll explain to you. When you're 40, come back to me, and I'll explain to you exactly which bugs have gilgulim and which ones don't.
How does that relate to hunting, though? Because that's also something which...
Yeah, I don't think the Arizal would be very down for the hunting. That would be my assumption. He didn't write him officially, but it doesn't seem like his type of thing. Fine. So, it doesn't mean it's la halacha because it's a Rizal, but fine. But the Moshe said it's better not to. Yeah?
How would you kill it?
So it's better to kill it with a fly paper or a trap or whatever. Actually, I saw the question. So we're gonna see. Actually, it's very geschmack. I'll bring this up right now. I saw somebody raise the question: is it better to kill the fly with the fly swatter and have an instant death, biyadayim, or is it better, or would Moshe prefer you to let it get caught on the fly paper? And it doesn't seem like a very pleasant death when the bug starves to death on the fly paper. Or are you better to remember, whoever remembers the camp days, are you ready to kill that mouse with the hockey stick? Because what else are hockey sticks for? Or are you better with the glue trap to have the mouse get stuck in the glue trap and suffer its way to death? What's better? So I heard somebody want to say that, Ramosha would say that, you prefer you killing it right away. And I think that person's wrong. Like this. I'll put it like this. If the glue trap is behind the couch, right? Or, the fly paper is wherever it is and you're not paying attention to wherever it is. So the bug gets caught. Are you allowed to put those up and get rid of the bugs for human need? Yes. You're allowed to get rid of the bugs for human need. Number 2. Are you doing a ma'isa of achzarius? You're not doing a ma'isa of achzarius. So, if it's behind the couch and it's dying behind the couch and you didn't do a ma'isa of achzarius, you're all good. Why should you take out your hockey stick to kill it? That's a ma'isa of achzarius. Let it, out of mind, out of place. Now, if it's the type of thing that all the kids are looking are watching, are going to watch the mouse die on the glue trap and whatever, and are going to be busy pointing and looking at the bugs dying and starving to death on the fly paper, then I would say it's better to do biyadayim, because that might bring to achzarius watching it die. But if it's behind the couch where nobody sees, nobody this, nobody that, then l'chayra, I would say it's better to use the glue trap and the glue paper.
What about adding a second glue trap to the animal?
What does that accomplish?
Makes it die faster.
That sounds bad. Because that sounds like it's biyadayim and it's cruel.
It definitely was bad.
Okay, good. Okay, fine. Baruch Hashem, we're masking. Now, the Chazon Ish said that if you see a bug suffering, you should kill it.
Even a bug.
Yeah, he said a bug, you see it suffering, you should kill it. Now, the question is that a contradiction to Rav Moshe? And I think it's not necessarily a contradiction to Rav Moshe, because killing a suffering animal doesn't bring achzarius. Meaning, to kill a live, good condition animal, that's achzarius. But when you got into the picture, the animal was suffering, so killing the suffering animal is an achzarius. So there could be room to be mechalek that it's not necessarily an argument between Rav Moshe and the Chazon Ish. There's a sefer that I saw quoted called Nefesh Kol Chai. I don't know who wrote it, don't know much about it, which says that you shouldn't kill a larger animal. Yeah, a bug or whatever that's sitting there and dying that you should kill. But a larger animal, that will bring you to Achzarius to kill a larger animal. You see a suffering cat or whatever, that don't kill, because that will bring you to Achzarius.
Can you salt a slug?
I don't know what soul. Okay.
By a car, so.
Yeah, so killing the, what's the chiluk? So I think the chiluk is that by killing a cat or something of the sort, so that when it's a big animal, it's something to like see how it's feeling, to feel for it, whatever it looks like a real being. To kill a real being, that will create Achzarius.
Even as a mercy killing.
Even as a mercy killing. Now, I don't know if I really agree with this. I hear both sides of the suffix. I'm not sure. I'm undecided whether I agree with the sefer or not, because I could hear the chiluk. But on the other hand, if it's a mercy killing, then maybe it's okay. We're not going to get involved with the states in America that allow mercy killing nowadays, whether that's mercy or whether that's ritzicha. Just because they call it for people, so just because they call it mercy doesn't mean it actually has mercy. Yesh lefalpal b'zeh. Okay. The Yavitz says that there's no Tzar Balei Chaim by bugs. But you see, obviously, not everybody agreed to that.
Why? Because they don't have feelings?
I don't know. When you say feelings, you're talking about mental feelings or physical feelings?
It's like it's fauna. It's like fauna-based, like animals.
I don't know. I don't know why. I just saw it quoted.
Mosquito doesn't have feelings?
I saw the Yavitz quoted, so I didn't see it. Well, you can squat a mosquito anyways, because it's nuanced, what's the word? Nuisance to people.
Attacking you.
Fine. Now,
So he was saying it has no Tzar Balei Chaim, not like our issur, that it's the Tzar Balei. He's saying there's no.
it doesn't start. He was saying, l'chayra, if you want to smack it for fun, you'd be allowed to.
Right.
Yeah?
Especially that Tzar system.
Yeah, correct. I mean, the Rizal wouldn't be cool with it, but he would be cool with it. Now, there's a process, which I don't really understand. Maybe Nissan will be able to help us with this. There's a process in which they starve the chickens, and that causes them... Huh?
They molt their feathers.
Molting, right. You know what? I didn't know what that word meant. Okay, very good. Thank you, Nisano. That they starve the chickens, which causes them to somehow, like, rejuvenate their kaiches, and it makes them live longer and have more eggs.
Become young again.
Yeah. However that works. I don't understand the Metzias, but that's the Metzias. So, is that allowed or is that not allowed to starve the birds? So, Nissan says, why not? Let's see what the Shevet Levi says.
Part of your human need.
Shevet Levi says, you're allowed to cause some pain to animals for human needs, but this is achzorius. And achzorius, cruelty. Achzorius means like real cruelty. That shouldn't be done. So the Shevet Levi is not cool with it. The Minchas Yitzchak, however, says, wait a second, it's not clear how much tsar this really caused the chicken. You ever ask a chicken how much tsar it felt? I don't think so.
It's
So-
universal because it's not eating.
Huh?
It's universal.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean by universal?
Every being that doesn't eat feels pain.
Yeah, but
Hunger.
no, everybody agrees that it feels pain, but it's not clear to whether this is regular pain or achzariistic pain. That's not clear, the Minchas Yitzchak says. Number two is from the fact that it lives longer and has the extra 6 months of living, that extra 6 months of living is, that's life. Life is valuable. How bad could it be if it's giving more life? It made me think of the Sichas Musar and Eov, if you remember. How Eov, for the Balei Musar, we did the Lumdas, now we get to the Musar, about how Eov's punishment wasn't the worst punishment, because it's true that he suffered tremendously, but at least he got to live. And getting to live even a horrible life is better than death. So, maybe we could, I don't know how that applies to chickens or not.
It's clear from the Metzias is they do live longer.
Yeah, that's why they do it. They do it to make them live longer. So I don't know if Chaim Shmulevitz holds that his vart on Eov applies to chickens or not. Tzarchin. But they can lay more eggs for more Shabbos lunch. What do you think? What was the Kach Tzarta? That's why you were created, to make eggs for Shabbos lunch. Okay, weiter. So tzarich Ian, but it definitely interesting. Okay, now I saw someone write that you cannot. I don't remember who it was anymore, but let's say you don't have a punching bag, but you have a cow. So you want to, it's therapeutic. You had a rough day, it's therapeutic. You want to go punch the cow a little bit to let out your stress. Are you allowed to punch the cow to let out your stress? So the Mesa, that you can't do. Whoever I saw it said you can't do it. That's unnecessary mistreatment. You can't do unnecessary mistreatment to an animal. So what about pulling off legs? The pulling off the legs? That's unnecessary mistreatment. Unnecessary mistreatment. Just causing pain, l'shem causing pain. It's not what you could do. Now, how does that stem with the Noidim Yehuda? In the Noidim Yehuda, you're not causing pain, l'shem causing pain. You're going for the thrill of the catch, the thrill of the kill. The pain is not the goal. The pain is a toitzah. It's an outcome from the thrill of the kill. If you're after the thrill of the kill and the pain is just the outcome, I guess that's okay. But to go and do an action, I'm doing an action of causing pain, that is a problem. Is it a fine chiluk? It's a very fine chiluk. But I think we could say such.
I'd say the punching bag falls into the category of...
You think it's the same as Nadim Yehuda?
Yeah, I think.
It's possible.
So he's not interested to be the tzar of the animal, he just wants to practice his left hook.
I hear. Okay. Fine. Now, so what are our gedarm? Let's try. I wanted to try to put some gedarm to this because we're having cases. It's very hard to define. So I tried to put it like this. Let's do it like this. If it's something that needs to be done to serve man, it is allowed. Something that needs to be done to serve man is allowed. If it's something that is beneficial for man, for example, man can make money on it, selling the hen or whatever it is. So if a man can make money from that action, if it's a normal thing to do, it can be done. Yeah?
So making animals like cows produce more milk than normal.
That would be allowed. Correct.
Result number one.
Yeah. If the animal's pain can be avoided without much issue, right? It's really not a big deal to avoid the animal's pain, and you just give the animal pain. That's a problem. That shouldn't be done. And number 4, it's better not to cause the pain biyadayim, because that will bring on achzarius if you actively cause the animal pain.
That's trying to focus on the first thing.
Yes. Now, Rav Asher Weiss says something which is very interesting. He says nowadays that we have the ability of making synthetic straw mills that look pretty nice. So he feels it's unreasonable that 40 rabbits or whatever it is have to die for one person to have a shtreimel. He wears a shtreimel on Shabbos. Rav Asher Weiss. He's not a hater from a different team. He's a shtreimel wearer, a real shtreimel wearer. But he says he would hope that that one day it will become the norm for everybody to wear synthetic shtreimels. He's not going to be the one who's going to create the norm, because he's be'etzem a Litvish Pesach who happens to be, his father was a Kloisenberger Chassid and whatever, so he's a shtigal talmid of the Kloisenberger Rebbe. He wears a shtreimel, but he's really a Litvak dressed up with a shtreimel. Rav Asher Weiss, if you know the score. But it needs to come from the Rebbes. But Zotar Rav Asher Weiss, he says he doesn't see it happening. But he would wish that they would stop wearing shtreimels, because it's really unnecessary for 40 animals to die for somebody to have a hat. And on top of that, the cost of the shtreimels as well. No, he's not saying be'etzem it's issur. If he held be'etzem it was issur, he wouldn't wear a shtreimel himself.
No, he's not saying it's Tzar Balei Chaim.
Well, he kind of is. He's saying these animals have to cause the pain of being killed.
That would definitely fit into the category of a tzara.
Right. That's why he said be'etzem it's mutter, and he wears a shtreimel. It's be'etzem mutter because it is a human need. But he was thinking that... Yeah, it's probably pretty quick, I guess. I mean, you got to check it out, but I don't know. But probably. But the point is that he would hope that the humans change their needs, because it's a little ridiculous. That's what I heard him say. Yeah. Fine. Now, weiter. Now, is it okay to run a chicken coop? We know the chickens don't live a very glorious life in the chicken coop. They all get stuffed together. It's not. Nisana once showed me a clip of the life of a chicken. Not very pleasant.
Most animals also count.
Yeah.
Food loss.
So is that cool? Could you do that? So, and another question: could you have the way that they treat the animals pretty rough in the slaughterhouse when they're shechting cows and all this? Could you do this? Is this okay?
Stuffing the goose.
So stuffing the goose is a little bit more complex. I'll get to that maybe in a minute. But these animals. So the answer is, at the end of the day, is it tzar chadam? Yes. Is what they're doing normal? Yes, it's considered normal. Would it be a big expense or a small expense to do it differently? It'd be a big expense to do it differently. There's a big financial difference between, free range chickens and you charge more. That's a different business model. But I'm saying if the people who are in the regular egg business decided I'm just going to let them free range, that would cost them a lot more money. So it's a significant amount of money to do otherwise. It's normal. It's tzar chadam. L'maisa, it's mutter. There are some people that start screaming Tzar Balei Chaim, and there's also people that give animals more rights than people. INLA. It's out there. So correct, but l'maisa, it's mutter. I'm not saying you want to ask if somebody wants to work on his rachmanis, should he go into that business? Maybe not. But in terms of the actual halacha, it seems to come out that it's mutter. Okay. Now, there is a big question regarding the kashrus of veal. Veal, for those unfamiliar, is a young calf that is stuffed up. I'll explain the life of a veal in a second. And it doesn't live a very pleasant life either. So you have a baby cow, and from when it's born, they stick it in a little cage. They don't let it walk or move anywhere for its life. It just stays in one spot. And then they force feed it a couple different options of mixtures of very gross thing, a mixture of coconut oil, chalev, liquid chalev, and milk mixed together. So some shtickle basar cholov, whatever, and that's what it drinks its whole life. Or coconut milk with pig lard mixed together. And they let it stuff up, no exercise, no nothing, force feed it, and then when it gets the right plumpness, they shecht it. And it's, whiter meat, very fatty, and apparently people like it. Yeah? So is one allowed to do that? So there's actually 3 issues with veal. The first issue with veal, the one that Moshe discusses, is Tzar Balei Chaim. So Dr. Moshe, it's issur to do this. It's Tzar Balei Chaim. You're causing this calf so much pain. For what? So the meat looks white? So you could charge more money by tricking people into saying it's of higher quality? For you to make a little bit more money to trick people into thinking it's higher quality, you're not allowed to cause an animal pain to make some more money. If somebody wanted to go, a guy came over to you and said, that cow looked at me bad. Here's $50. Punch it up. Would you be allowed to? No. I can't be over the race because somebody goes and pays me $50. So I can't make money on tricking people that it's better by doing this Tzar Balei Chaim. It's issur. Whereas other people argue on Ramesha, wait a second. What is Ramesha talking about tricking people to bet? No, this makes a better quality meat, and once it makes better quality meat, it's tzar chadam, and if it's tzar chadam, memela, it's allowed. So I had a shayla. Is it pshat that Ramosha got the Metzias a little wrong and it's better meat? Or are those the guys that are being tricked that Ramosha was talking about? I'm not sure. Okay, that happens to be once we're talking about veal. Veal could be a whole shiur in its own, but I'll just say the quick parts. There's another shiur, so Ramosha ends up with the veal because of the Tzar Balei Chaim. He said it's issur to do that. If it was done, so it's actually be'etzem mutter to eat. Just because Tzar Balei Chaim was done to the animal doesn't make the meat issur, but a Baal Nefesh should be machmir not to eat it. There's another thing, and he says also you have to go and check the stomach, even though you don't always need to check the stomach. These veal calves are more likely to have be about a treifa in the stomach, and therefore they need extra bedikas in the stomach. So once again, there's a lot of shaylos with treifas with these. Obviously, so to eat a veal, besides the Tzar Balei Chaim issue, you would have to deal with make sure the hechsher is really checking well to make sure it's not a treifa.
Maybe it's been fed pig fat.
Very good. Fed pig fat. Where were you coming from?
I was asking. Does that affect?
Oh, I thought you knew this. It's a very unwell-known Ramah. There's a Gemara in Avodah Zarah that if you're mefatim an animal with Avodah Zarah food, whatever that is, then the animal's with only Avodah Zarah food, then the animal's issur to eat. Zakt the Ramah. The Ramah says if the animal ate, issur food and mutter food, you're allowed to eat it. But if the animal only ate issur food, now it is issur to eat the animal. Now, this animal, remember what we said, the life of a veal, the life of the calf, the life of a veal calf. What did he eat? He either ate basar b'cholov, or he ate pig lard. Tzara shava shebehem, they're both issur to eat. So if they're both issur to eat, and that was all he ate his whole life. As Ramosha says, they don't even let them milk a nurse from their mothers at all. They just get this, right? So therefore, Zakh Ramah should be issur to eat. The Shach, however, says that it's only issur to eat animal that was fed issur hana. Like Avodah Zarah is issur b'hana. It's only issur hana. Stam issur achila, you're allowed to eat the animal. Now, pig lard, fine, that's issur to eat pig lard, but it's not issur b'hana. But as we just said, that when it comes to, as Reuven just said, that when it comes to basar b'cholav is issur b'hana. And if it's been busy eating basar b'cholav, that's going to be a problem. So what are we going to do? So the truth is not so pashut, because what type of meat are they using for this? Are they using kosher meat? No, they're using nevela. So is there basar b'cholav by nevela? It's a whole shayla of in issur chalal issur. But there's issur moisif, which is that it was just issur b'achila, now it's also issur b'hana. If you got what I said, great. If not, don't worry. So there's a whole shayla whether that's considered a problem, that's considered basar b'cholav, and is nevela with milk considered issur b'hana. So l'maisa we paskin that we're machmer on it, but by a tzarach gadol or hefsed meruba, you could be mekel. Now the other shayla is here in the production of the basar b'cholav. Was it cooked together in a kli rishon or was it cooked together in a kli sheni? Apparently, sometimes they cook it together in a kli sheni. This basar b'cholav. So it's the basar b'cholav might be a sveka as to whether it's issur the basar b'cholav. First of all, it's nevela, and imtin tzalemer the nevela is a problem. Suffolk whether it was actually been mivashel together in a kli rishon, whatever. L'meis lefi the shach there's what to be mekel. Lefi the Ramah would be a problem. But apparently you can be making like the shach. Who owns it? So these are Jewish farms. Now apparently I heard nowadays to deal with the Ramoshes, they let it like nurse for a couple of days beforehand, so it didn't only eat this. And they, in terms of the Ramosha, they since they let it drink the milk of the mother, it's not as bad of a life tzarchim, maybe. I don't know. Okay, but l'maisa, to eat veal is not pashut. There's the issue of Tzar Balei Chaim, there's the issue of tzreifos, and lefi the Ramah, it seems to be that it would be more or less issur. Maybe it could be slightly avoided. It's not pashut. One more thing to end off with is that are you allowed to go, and is Tzar Balei Chaim to go fishing? So if you're going to keep the fish and you're going to eat the fish, no, the question doesn't start. That's causing pain to animals for the benefit of people. So that's for sure okay. But what if you're catching the fish to take a selfie with the fish? Doesn't the fish look so happy? And then you rip the hook out of the mouth of the fish and you throw him back in the water. Now, I was never a fish, but that fish needs a pretty good periodontist to deal with his hole in his mouth. It doesn't seem like it's a fun activity for a fish to get a hole in his mouth. So is one allowed to go fishing? So is that considered tzarech ha'adam, or is that considered unnecessary pain? What do you think?
Back to hunting for sport.
Back to hunting from sport. It seems to be a very similar thing. And
feelings.
huh?
Fish don't have feelings.
Oh, or do fish not have feelings? So any old fisherman will tell you. My father-in-law is a fisherman, so to speak, and he would tell you fish don't feel it. Now, is it true that fish don't feel
Is it based on his observation?
it? That's what they all say. It's like one of these things that they all say, oh, fish don't.
Scream.
Yeah. When's the last time a fish told you that hurt? Yeah. So apparently, based on research, I didn't do major research. I asked ChatGPT if fish feel it, if it hurts the fish when the hook goes through them. So ChatGPT claimed that research has shown that they do have nerves there. Not a tremendous amount of nerves. It's not going to hurt the same amount that it hurt like a person. But there are some nerves there. But they don't know clearly if there's a mental processing in the brain of a fish that they feel pain in the way that we feel pain. And I would say, it's probably true by a lot of animals. I don't know. Do we know? So I didn't research this in any great degree. But Lamaisa, it seems to be somewhat of a suffix whether they feel pain. The pashtus is that they feel pain. But there is a Neidim Yehuda to rely on as well. So at the end of the day, I would say like this. When it comes to fishing, to throw back the fish, Lamaisa, there is what to be Saimech on. And if somebody wants to be Machmer, there's Makim Lahachmer as well. And with that, we end. Have a great day.